to the M6P. Thank you all for watching tonight. I'm your host, Jared, along with Darren and guest host, James. And we're going to be talking about the top 5 MCU villains tonight. But first, we've never had James on the show before, so we want you to get to know a little bit about him. So, James, why don't you give us a short intro?
So, nice and short. I'm James Hall from Ohio, a father of 3, married almost 20 years. I'm really into the concept of the hero and the hero's journey, and things like that. And that's kind of what attracted me to the Marvel stories when I was younger, and Spider-Man and X-Men and all those things, and tearing up my brother's comics when him getting mad at me because I was trying to see who Wolverine, all that stuff. So that's it. That's I love Marvel stories. I love the character building. I love all that. And that's it, man. Let me just stop it right there.
Yeah. Why don't you give us a plug for your podcast?
Oh yeah, I do a biblical manhood podcast called Restoring Heroes Project. It's about biblical manhood in this counterfeit world. I believe all men are heroes, and some men need to be restored back to that state, to know it's okay to lead and protect and provide for their families. So nice. Restoring Heroes Project is the name of the podcast.
So, hey, make sure you send us a link. We'll add it to the YouTube description.
Okay, I definitely will. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, check that out in the description below. James and I actually met. We have a mutual friend, and he came up and he said, "Dude, I need you to meet this guy that likes comic books and does a podcast." And just kind of took me over to James, and we just stood there like, "Well, hi, I'm Jared.
Right.
I'm James." Like, it was just so random, but James is a great guy, and we wanted to have him on the show.
And don't forget, don't try to forget that we don't go to the same church too, bro. Like,
yeah, we do. Absolutely. Yeah.
So.
Yes, absolutely. The worship pastor is who introduced us. The worship pastor used to be in my youth group when he was a wee little one, and now James sings on the praise team with him, and it's all good.
So back to when you guys said you met, and you were just standing there, like,
yes, in front of
each
other.
So in your head, was it like, did we just become best friends? Yeah, like, right?
It wasn't right away, because he kind of blew me off a little bit because he didn't know what to say. Because Jared's weird.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Now everyone finally knows the truth.
Right. Right.
The link for James's podcast will not be in the description anymore. So
you are excommunicated.
It was just kind of like, because Bobby wasn't like, "Hey, James, this is my friend Jared. I want to introduce you."
No, it was not like that at all. You.
Okay. It was like 4th grade all over again. It was really weird. But yeah, so this is the M6P. If you've not seen our show before, you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, all the social media sites. Just do a search for the M6P. You can also check us out at themarvelousbox.com. For $25 a quarter, you get over $100 worth of Marvel graphic novels sent directly to your front door. It's a great, fun subscription service as a gift or for yourself. And then you can also check out Michael Web Solutions for all of your SEO needs. It's really, really cool. So with that, Darren, why don't you take it away, man? What are we talking about tonight?
Our top 5 MCU villains. So to preface, I know this is terrible at this point. I still have not seen Spider-Man No Way Home yet.
What?
So yeah, I know. Come on, I know. I try to. I'll get there. When it comes out in streaming. No, I'm just joking. But I pretty much know everything that happens in that movie because of all the spoilers. I'm not going to try to avoid it if possible. So yeah. Anyway, so to my point is, are we allowed to dive into Raimi's Spider-Man universe now? Because are those included as are those villains allowed?
Well, I thought like Sony owns like 75% of that movie, right? Still,
yeah, but
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Sony owns all the rights to Spider-Man and his characters, but they're all part of the MCU now.
Okay, cool.
But Darren, you wouldn't know that because you haven't seen the movie.
Unfortunately. Oh wait, Tobey Maguire's in it?
I mean, the best part really was when
No.
the Wolverine cameo. The Wolverine
Right.
cameo was
Oh,
just
yeah.
awesome.
Man,
Yeah,
it was second next to the Dazzler cameo.
Oh.
Like yeah, that was crazy.
I'm glad you brought up Dazzler. You'll see later.
Yes.
But yeah, so top 5 MCU villains. I don't know. Do you guys want me to name off like my number 5 and then you name off a number 5 and then we go like that? Maybe that way it kind of keeps it going good.
Yeah,
All
let's
right.
do 5s and why. Like what's your rationale for that 5th one?
One. Okay, I'm gonna go 5 with Gila, or Hela, or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But I just thought as a character, like a villain in the MCU, she really stood out, and that's kind of what I'm. You know, Jared, we talked about this. Like, what do you base it on? Your favorite, or who you think stood out the best as a MCU villain? So I'm basing on who I think stood out as the best as an MCU villain in their particular film or films. But yeah, I really liked her. I like Kate Blanchett. I like it when they bring a really solid actor or actress to play one of the villains. They definitely did that. And then the combination of like, because Thor Ragnarok, when that hit, like, it's like, whoa, who's this guy, Taika? It was so different, but it was so fun. And all the characters were so entertaining. And I think that's why I have to place her as my top 5 or number 5 on my list. And that's what I got there.
All right. Well, so I would also say Hela is my 5th as well. So great minds think alike. James, if you pick Hela, we are best friends for life. You know, that would be perfect. But I picked Hela just because of the ramifications. So I tried to think my top 5 of like who have had the biggest impact on the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I would say Hela would probably be 5th in how she totally changed Thor and his storyline. She changed the relationship with Loki, with Odin, with Frigga, who has even passed on, but that changed that relationship. It caused, basically her coming back caused the destruction of Asgard and changing Thor as a character as a whole. And in many ways, it destroyed so many things of Asgard. The Warriors 3, like Hela's appearance in the MCU, what kind of shook the foundation of the MCU. So that's why I put her as number 5.
And I didn't even think about her, but the way y'all explain it make total sense to me, because Ragnarok is one of my favorite Thor movies. I think it made him more well-rounded. What is wrong with my mouth? And in the weight of her character, the weight of her villainy really caused some tragic things to happen, which like you said, Jared, really caused Thor to progress as a character. So I'm gonna stick with Hela number 5. Number 5, I'm gonna stick with Hela.
Wow. Yeah.
Whoa.
You know, hey, full transparency, Jared and I actually brought up Hela earlier today, and we're like, man, where? Because he didn't know at first that I was thinking about putting her in my top 5, and then apparently he was too. But like the problem was like, where do you place her? So
exactly.
I think that's a fair fair ranking for her character by all 3 of us.
Right.
All right, on to the next, number 4. So my number 4 would probably be, and even though it's not exactly one of my favorite MCU movies, it's up there, but Killmonger from Black Panther. Michael B. Jordan is I like I think he's a good actor. I don't know. Just the whole dynamic between them, and at the end you learn they're related, and just the storyline. It's not just the way he played out all the action and things, but like, you know, the characterization, and like Marvel tends to do that, especially in the MCU. They dive a little bit deeper into like the emotional aspects of characters and things like that. But I mean, they have to because they're showing a story and things like that. But no, I would have to say like he was an interesting character, and yeah, I liked him. So he's my number 4.
All right.
He's higher than Hela?
Yeah.
I don't think so, bro.
Yes, this is where our list will start to diverge.
Oh, mine's gonna be nuts.
So I went with Alexander Pierce for number 4, and he was the head of Hydra in the Winter Soldier. I went with him because it was another foundation shaking role. in that we thought SHIELD was just the good military soldiers, and turns out they've been infiltrated for years and years and years. And Alexander was kind of the one running the whole show. I feel like that definitely changed things almost in a way that the Skrulls, I believe, will, when we get to the secret invasion of, who's good, who's bad, who can you trust. And it kind of put some doubts in a lot of characters' minds. Also, with him being around, that brought in the Winter Soldier. And then he was able to show up again in Endgame to kind of see his involvement where he was during the first Avengers movie that we didn't know. So I thought that Alexander Pierce just ranked a little bit higher than Hela for me. So I've got him at the number 4 place.
Yeah, number 4 for me has to be Time in the Doctor Strange movie. Time is the biggest villain for me, even over Hela in Doctor Strange. And let me explain why. It seems like most of the time he's fighting against time to save the person's life, right? And when he was a surgeon, he's even the ancient one talks about how she kind of wants to stretch out the moments of time. He used time as it was all about that the time stone, obviously, but it was a villain because even the villain, the guy with the crystal eyes, I forgot his name, right? They turned this off.
Cecilius.
Yes. Even he said like time is the enemy, and he was like crying like time is the reason why he lost so much and why he's so broken. So I'm gonna have to say Time for my number 4.
Very interesting, off the beaten path too.
Wow. I don't know how we come back with something after that,
I know, like a big loser over here. All right.
I had to do something over that Killmonger though. Like, what are you talking about, bro?
I really liked it. I liked Claw too, but I can't put Circus on the list either.
But yeah, they shouldn't have killed him off. They killed him off too early.
He got killed off too early. I agree with that.
It was so ridiculous. That movie, never mind.
We're talking about the villains, just the villains, not necessarily the movie.
Right. My goodness.
Okay, so number 3. Man, I really hate picking this one, but I have to because he's one of the biggest, and he's definitely not my favorite, but he's got to be in there. It's got to be Thanos, my number 3. I mean, he's just too big of a part of the MCU to ignore. Josh Brolin's a great actor. I thought he did a great job handling Thanos. And it was fairly true to the comic version of Thanos. So, yeah, I'll give Thanos number 3 with a.
Oh, that's what happened to Nick.
He got dusty. All right.
So for number 3 for me is Baron Zemo, and I went with Baron Zemo. And none of these, like Hela is definitely like one of my favorite characters. Alexander Pierce wasn't a favorite. Baron Zemo isn't necessarily a favorite, but like I said, I tried to look at the impact that they had on the MCU. And for his introduction, he was just a human that manipulated the Avengers into attacking each other, into a civil war, if you will. And that civil war has continued to have consequences in the movies today. We saw it in Black Widow, in Infinity War, Hawkeye. All those things are predicated upon the things that Baron Zemo did. And then to have him return to full villainy in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and he finally put on his purple Fat Albert mask. It was great.
Right, his purple sock mask.
I loved it. And we got to see a little bit more villainy there. And I know that his story is not done. So there's definitely things coming. But if you can make Captain America and Iron Man go after each other and then literally break the foundation that Hela and Alexander Pierce had already shooken, you make number 3 on my list.
Okay, I'm gonna go with Ego, the father of Star-Lord, and it's because he's a it was the epitome of the toxic masculinity thing. Like, I mean, he knocked up a woman, left her, and then like came back for the kid to to tell him like, yeah, I killed your mom, and then expected the kid to be okay with it. Like, he's a horrible dad. And it really did change the way it made an impact on Peter's character. That let Chris Pratt in the movie act a little bit more. Like, once he found out that his father killed his mom or gave her cancer, like, you could see in his eyes, like, the gut wrenching, the emotions behind the fact that this man, this planet or this alien is the reason why he had to go through so much pain, and the reason why he ran away and he got picked up by Yondu. Was a whole lot behind that last battle. So I'm gonna have to give it to Ego, number 3.
That's definitely a good one.
All right, on to the 2s, the second position. All right, so I'm actually going to put Zemo here, Jared. For many of the same reasons that you had mentioned, just the whole Civil War thing, what he caused there was, I mean, that changed the scope and kind of the direction how a lot of the storylines went in the entire MCU universe. That alone, and the fact that I like Daniel Bruhl, and I think his characterization's great of Zemo. That's why he's my number 2 spot. He's a great actor. I mean, there's so many good things about how they've handled that character so far. So yeah, he's my number 2.
Well, I like that pick. That one's good. All right. So for number 2 for me is the god of mischief himself, Loki. Loki was the base. I mean, we had Ironmonger in Iron Man, and we had Abomination in Hulk. But really and I guess Red Skull and Captain America, but really the guy that kind of set the tone for all villains after him was Loki in Thor. And at least myself, I found myself watching Tom Hiddleston many times over, it's a Thor movie. It's not a Loki movie, for him to command that. But acting aside, we're looking at the character. What he did built up to Avengers. And I mean, Avengers was a groundbreaking movie in how it really set the table for everything to come after it. And Loki was the main bad guy there. And then we see him in Dark World. He's still up to his tricks. And we see him in Infinity War. We see him in Ragnarok. He got his own Disney Plus show. I mean, we've seen more of Loki than we've seen of Tony Stark. We know this character in and out, and the ramifications that he has had. And now on Time, what he's done to your pick, James, what he's had in his miniseries on Disney Plus, what he's done to Time is huge, and what he's going to continue to do. So Loki is just like, he's had such an effect on the Marvel universe.
So like, I was going to actually, I just don't consider him a villain anymore. Is that weird? That's my dilemma, because obviously Loki would be, but like, he's changed so much. I mean, he was a good guy in Loki. I mean, even though he was a bad guy, he was a good guy. It was kind of weird. So that's why I didn't include him, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and that's why the 3 of us are so different. We all have our different thoughts and stuff, and that's the fun of this show.
Cool. I think mine, and don't hurt me, number 2 for me, it might be, I'm keeping number 2, Scarlet Witch. Now I'll tell you why.
Go for it.
Because the lady was grieving, she took over a whole community of people, brainwashed them, right? Brainwashed them, made some people stand still and only move a little bit. What if they had to pee or poop? Like, people don't even think about that. People have, like, you can't just stop people's bowels. They pooping and peeing on themselves. And like, but all because you had some feels that you didn't want to deal with. Like, I think Scarlet Witch is my number 2 villain of the MCU.
Yeah, and what was her payment for that sin? She just flew away.
She flew away, bro, and then took the dark code and like kind of learned some more about being evil.
Yeah.
Well, hanging out in the mountains by a beautiful lake. So
she got rewarded.
Yep.
Because she's a girl.
Yeah. Hella would disagree, but
well, she got beat up by Flame Dude. Like,
Gosh,
What's
she got blown up.
be blown up.
Mm.
But no, not that's the reason. But I'm just saying, like that she was a villain of that show, and we were told to like her, and it was cool. It was a good show, right? But yeah, she tortured those people.
Yeah, that's the thing. Marvel definitely makes you empathize with their villains, and that point that Darren was saying, you know, how I don't really view Loki as a villain anymore. Then I think Marvel did their job, is that they make a lot of their villains very gray. And are they bad? Are they good? Because you're right, Wanda was the villain. What she did to those people is terrible. But her name is in the show as the star, and you feel for her because she lost her children, she lost her brother, she lost her boyfriend. Like, oh, she's grieving. Oh, but I shouldn't feel like that, you know?
Exactly. And she lost her kids that she made up. It's a whole lot of things that's just going on.
Yeah.
And we're privy to someone's mental breakdown, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, number one. Wow, I'm just gonna go ahead. Here we go. Taskmaster. No, I'm just joking.
What? No way.
I'm just joking.
No.
That was a joke. Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe's version. Again, I haven't seen No Way Home. You know, the first Spider-Man, I was so excited waiting for that. And then I was a big fan of Willem Dafoe at the time. I was like my first year at college when that came out, I think. And great actor. And just I thought, like, when I saw him as Norman Osborn and everything, like, that was great. And then when he became the Green Goblin, it was great. The whole him like talking to himself in the mirror and the slow madness building up, like everything about that character. You know, I thought it was great. And sure, it's easy to go back, but I mean, yeah, this is like really one of the first big, you know, well, X-Men was, but then Spider-Man came out and everything. But that was one of the first big ones that kind of like started the trend towards comic book movies. So I guess a little bit of that rankings out of respect, just for that nostalgia factor too, as well. So, but yeah, Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe, number one for me.
That's definitely a surprise. That's ranking up there with Time for me. I did not see that one coming. And Darren, I cannot wait for you to see Spider-Man, because Willem Dafoe, won't spoil you anymore, but like, he puts his appearance in the Raimi Spider-Man to shame in what he does. Like, he just plays the heck out of that character, and he gives us the Green Goblin that we thought we loved so much, an even better performance.
Nice.
It's so good. It's so good. He stole that movie.
I'm excited.
And if everyone watching this would donate $1 so that Darren can go see the
That's not the issue. I need time.
Broke. No, no, totally.
Dude,
yeah, Darren is a busy man.
Time stone thing.
Yes.
Thanks, man.
We'll get you there, Darren. By the time the next Spider-Man comes out, you'll
I'm excited because Eternals just came out today on streaming. So yeah, no, I already know. I know. Should I even bother, guys? Like, I gotta see it because it's MCU, right? Should I? Okay, wow, you guys are both cringing. Very okay.
Do you have to though?
You know, I'm gonna watch Yellowstone tonight instead. So yeah.
Knowing what I know now, I realize I did not need to see it.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I never needed to read any of their comic books either, so it works out fine.
No one did, though. No one read them. There weren't characters. Don't get me started. There weren't characters that people even cared about, right? Kind of like the Captain Marvel lady.
Yeah, definitely like her. And, yeah.
So for my number one, I got to go with Thanos. No one changed the Marvel Cinematic Universe more than Thanos. I mean, he literally killed half of every living thing in the MCU. So, I mean, like, how do you know how to beat that? But two, if you look, you know, the first phase of movies, the second phase of movies, the third, they're all building towards Thanos. Every single movie was going towards Thanos. And everything after has been about Thanos. The repercussions of what he did are seen in Hawkeye. They're seen in Black Widow. They're in WandaVision. Her grief is because of Thanos. That's why she's doing everything she does. His impact is still going to continue to be felt. So I don't know how anybody's ever going to beat Thanos for me as the main villain, but there you go.
Yeah, I have to agree with Jared. Number one for me is Thanos, and it's because he handed out the first movie with an L at the end. Like Infinity War, the heroes lost, and you was left. I was left at the outside with my wife, like, what did I just watch? The heroes are not supposed to lose. You know what happens every Saturday morning, like after your cereal, you know that whatever's gonna happen is or it's gonna be. It was like it handed the cinematic world the first to be continued with the L at the end. Like everyone lost, all hope is lost, and you felt it. Like that's why I say Thanos was the top, because he handed the Avengers, the people that we spent time with, the Captain America who jumps on grenades. We finally got Black Panther. I mean, he handed them losses.
Yeah.
Like losses. Dude just got his eye. He just got a new hammer. Groot lost his arm for the hammer. I mean, the new war axe or whatever, and came out the sky and still got snapped. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Thanos, the ramifications of that snap is still going on, and people are still dealing with it. Cheesily, some villains are doing it really a cheesy way, but they're still dealing with it. You know what I mean? So I have to say Thanos is my number one.
Now, Darrin, you haven't seen Spider-Man. Have you seen Infinity War?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I'm just busting you, man.
I have the
sarcasm.
giant man walking around in there and stomping on things. Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, Thanos is just, man. Like, I mean, eventually we're going to see Doctor Doom in the MCU. We're going to see Magneto. But are they going to ever be... They're not going to be to the level of Thanos, I don't think. I think it's going to be really tough.
I think if the MCU continues to do the kind of political things that they're doing, like kind of shoehorning certain things in there, I'm not sure if they're going to do Magneto justice. Like they'll probably, because like X-Men kind of hinted to those things, but it wasn't as on the nose as if they're not careful, the writers will try to make it be. And so I'm not sure they're going to do. Magneto's not going to feel like a real danger to society as much as like to Wolverine, like, or to a metal bridge. Like, but he's not going to feel like Thanos threatened the world.
So what, like, I agree with you. Like, what do you say shoehorn something in specifically with Magneto? What do you think that element would be? So the myth is that Professor Xavier is the Martin Luther King of things, and Magneto is the Malcolm X of things, right? So by any means necessary, it's for his people and stuff like that. And I could see a writer trying to win over some Twitter mob and try to shoehorn those ideals in there, because it's a myth. That's not how it was started, right? But I could see people try to shoehorn those politics in there and creating a disaster of a character. And you see those disaster of characters in some of the shows that we been privy to watch. Yeah. So that's all I'm saying. Gotcha. All right.
Right. I think, and Magneto, I love him as a villain. And you know, comic book time is much different than movie time. So if they do try and I just don't see them going with the, you know, survivor of the Holocaust. Because
you can't do it anymore. Exactly. You can't do it anymore. Like
he would be, you know, 85 years old.
Right.
So we'll see. Hopefully it's
by the way, Magneto would have been on my top 5 had the Fox movies been allowed in play. So
I was thinking about Juggernaut on my bottom 5. Juggernaut was hilarious in Deadpool 2. Oh. So he would have been my number 5. At least he did something. Like he did something, you know what I mean? Just because I liked him. He would have been in my number 5.
I would say the biggest Fox villain was what was his name? I forget. Simon Kinberg. He was in charge of Dark Phoenix and the New Mutants.
Oh,
Either
You talk about the
you got
director.
deep there.
Ooh, yikes.
Yeah.
I think if you pick out the X-Men movies and stuff like that, I think the Striker, whoever they put in charge of the Sentinel project, because it bled over into Days of Future Past and stuff like that too. I mean, they really evolved into something crazy and scary in the Days of Future Past. So,
All right. Well,
he'll be like number 5. I don't know which one, I don't know who it was. I know it was a Striker.
Trask.
Yes. Yep. But yeah, I think he would have been in the lower. If he had a top 10, he'd be like at 7 or such.
I feel like 72 for me, probably. Taskmaster would rank above.
72ths?
So,
Hey, what about that dark elf?
Man, get out of here with that, man.
Yeah.
Or emotions. Emotions for
Emotion.
Thor 2, it was the emotions.
Oh,
It was just
let's not get started on that.
it's emotions.
So we
And
got
it's the and it's the patriarchy in Captain Marvel. It's the patriarchy and actually have to achieve something for your powers. That's the villain too, because you can't have her do that.
Oh, James shoots it straight. I love it.
Oh,
So-
I guess so. Wow.
Typically, we got 4 guys on, but we've just got 3 tonight. So we're not going to be doing trivia tonight. But Darrin does have
Why
a
not? Why not?
surprise.
I want to do trivia.
I'll do it. I'll do it if he wants to.
We have we usually do a competition trivia. I
And
thought
then-
you were,
Oh,
yeah, I thought Darrin, I thought
Okay.
you had a surprise for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna show off a couple. I got a T Public bag filled with a bunch of new M6P shirts. So we're gonna just shamelessly do an unboxing and promote it right now.
Yeah.
And, you remember I promised you something earlier in the show. So here's the first one.
Dazzler.
The pink Dazzler shirt.
Yes. Yes. Mutant and
Alrighty,
Proud.
what else we got in here? What else? Ooh,
That was
here's
funny
a-
that we didn't even cue James up for that. He just mentioned
No,
it.
we didn't. Totally unplanned.
You know what? But it reminded me of it because I see Dazzler so much on your shop. I'm not gonna buy her, right? Because
You got
it's just
to.
like she became some type of. It was weird. Never mind.
As soon as she shows up in the MCU, Disney's gonna pull that shirt. You better get one now. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah, I hope that she don't show up though.
like, okay.
She's gonna have to be a
I'm showing
band.
shirts here.
I
This
love
is
that.
one of the OG classic.
Nice.
Video game.
Yeah, the video game. Actually, this one's for my dad. I got this one for him.
Is that the Sega Genesis one?
No, the arcade. The arcade.
Oh,
game.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
arcade. Yeah, that's the arcade.
Yep, that is the arcade one.
Because there's
Yep.
Dazzler again. So
I
I
don't
got
know.
2 shirts with Dazzler.
I bet I probably dropped $200 in quarters in that game. Like I just played the heck out of
Oh, me
that.
too, man. Pocket change, Jared. Pocket change.
And the skating rink.
Yeah. Alrighty, I got 2 more left. This is from our Just Do It line. I've got quite a few of the Just Do It shirts, but this one's Yondu, if you can tell.
Yondu.
A little bit higher,
Nice.
Darrin. Let's see the bottom.
I can't see.
There you go.
There it is. There it is. Just do it, Yondu. Looks
All
good.
right, so I like
Good
that
color,
one.
too. I like
Yeah.
that blue.
I wanted to match his face, so it worked out. And then, yeah, this one is probably the one I was the most excited about.
Oh,
Cyclops.
Is it in the frame?
Yeah.
yeah. Scott Summers.
Yeah, man. I just thought the graphic was, yeah, I really liked the graphic. I thought it was a clean shirt. Got it in a navy blue, and there we go. But the cool thing is you can get these designs in any of your favorite colors or sizes at tpublic.com. Search M6P something.
Yeah. Thanks, Darrin. That was great.
All righty, yeah. I love
And
the
then I'm wearing the
shirts.
Storm design, which has been removed off TeePublic, so I'll make some changes and upload it again.
Oh, really? I got
then-
one too, at least before they did.
Yeah, I'll
It's
re-upload.
so fun. It's fun for them to pull our shirts because as soon as we get one up, I like, oh, snarf it up, get one. Beat you, Disney.
Oh, so Disney's taking your designs off?
They'll contact TeePublic pretty much and be like, hey, right? Or they'll just pull, and then TeePublic pulls them.
Yeah, in the past year, I mean, there used to be thousands of designs of not just our stuff, but everybody's stuff. And the past year, they just kind of swept through. So we have to be a little more creative in what we call our shirts. And like instead of Cyclops, I'm like Laser Guy and stuff like that.
So that way when they're scraping the site looking for those keywords like X-Men names or Marvel names or things like that, we have Laser Guy instead of Cyclops, so it doesn't get flagged.
There you go.
Well, thanks for joining us tonight as we did a top 5 of our favorite, or just the top 5 MCU villains. Thanks, James, for joining us. I'm sure you're going to be seeing James again. We'd love to have you back and get you in here for some trivia. And
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Until next time, make yours the M6P.